Well, so we'll add on to the review of the newspapers, and also we'll look at some stories from the various online portals. Please make sure that you keep interactive. On Facebook, Joy News on TV is a regular page there. We also have a Twitter handle at Joy News on TV, and you can watch us regularly through my Joy Online TV, which is a channel on YouTube.
All right, let's do some of your messages, because lots of you are sending messages, and I've got best wishes going out to all candidates. So here's one that says, wishing all the BC candidates in Eswojaman all the best and a wonderful morning to my dear husband, Mr. Osafo Ado. Is from Mrs. Osafo Ado. Here's another one that is coming from Blixzy. Blixzy. That's it. I had to pause. Blixzy from Accra. Tabora says, when is veterinary services going to employ veterinary doctors? And he's talking about new graduates in some districts. There are no vet doctors in most districts for animal care. That's your WhatsApp message to us this morning. Here's a long one. The collapse of a nation does not require the use of atomic bombs or the use of long-range missiles. A nation collapses.
Is that a proverb?
Due to the lower quality of education and allowing cheating in examinations by students. Patients die at the hands of such doctors. Buildings collapse at the hands of such engineers. Money is lost at the hands of such economists and accountants. Humanity dies at the hands of such religious scholars. Justice is lost at the hands of such judges, among others. The collapse of education is the collapse of a nation. Please wish my BC candidates good luck and help stop cheating in examinations. I mean, it just says that it's got consequences. Cheating has got a lot of consequences, basically. Let's see, one more, and then we'll go to the newspapers. This one says, it's from Lillian. Lillian says, I'm wishing my dear brother, Kotuche David, a successful exams and all others who are writing from Ahamansu in the Volta region. All right, you two can send me a message, but let's do the newspapers now. Roland, what paper do you have? I
have the Ghanaian Times, but you're watching us this morning. Bismarck Papayao Stocks, good morning, wherever you're watching us from. Wish you all the best for the day. But I have the Ghanaian Times, front page of the Ghanaian Times. Story on page 16 says, deadly clashes at Naduni, 2 die, 13 arrested, 30 others drowned fleeing conflict. And that story is rightly captured from a report by Yakubu Abdul Majid, who is reporting from Chiraponi. It says a renewed clash between Kokumbes and Chekoses at Naduni, a farming community in the Chiraponi district of the northern region, has claimed 2 lives, with several others sustaining various gunshots and cutlass wounds. So far, according to this story, we're told about 13 people, including a chief suspected to be involved in the clash, have been apprehended by a combined team of the police and the military deployed in the area to maintain law and order. And the clash between the 2 tribes also led to the burning down of several houses, which is usually reminiscent of some of these incidents that are reported as far as these conflicts are concerned. You have a picture there on the center spread of the Northern Regional Minister Salifu Said, and we'll try and say we'll get our correspondent to give us the latest update on this subsequently on regular program in the channel as well. But Charlie, that's a problem we have. Also on the center spread there, we have government draws up roadmap to lift ban on small-scale mining. You have John Pierre Ameu. When I remember that name, I always remember Kukwanyido. Kukwanyido, good morning to wherever you are this morning during the campaign. But one of the stories of controversial, we had the Minister of Communications appearing before the plenary in Parliament to say that government has given a thumbs up to that contract. Is the Kelni GVG contract to improve government revenue, a story attributed to the Communications Minister, and obviously called from her own address to members of Parliament when she appeared to brief them on the current contract. Is being controversial because the civil society group, the think tank Imani Ghana, and a number of them as well, were told in excess of some 28 of them, they've raised concerns about how they think this contract doesn't give Ghana good value.
And Occupy Ghana also issued a statement, quite a long one.
Yeah, just over the last 12 hours.
Yeah.
I have that too. We feature that in the news as well. So I know it's becoming topical, but the government says that That's a roadmap. That's what we want to
But
go
Occupy Ghana is making some demands, and they've said that if they don't get
some responses,
they would head to court. So we'll see how that goes.
Ajay. So we have 38 brand new motorcycles left to rot at Bolga, and that story is on page 16 of the paper. And we seem to be last week, I think before the beginning of the weekend, it was I think a number of buses donated by Turkey. So the Ghana
they're just
government.
Sitting there.
Yeah, they just
we don't have any use for them.
Yeah, that's it. A total of 38 brand new motorcycles fitted with trailers meant for farmers and the SADA, that's the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, now the Northern Regional Development Authority, have been left at the mercy of the weather in Bolgatanga, the regional capital of the Upper East region. And it's there. We're told that the source mentioned that the distribution proportions to the Northern region are 2,000, Upper East 1,000, and it's the Upper East one that we find there, 38 brand new ones. We can make use of them, can we? And do you have anybody who has registered for NAPCO? Do you know anybody who has typically registered for NAPCO?
Is it NAPCO or CORE?
NAPCO. That's a Nation Builders Corps.
Okay. No.
We're told the numbers now, summing up, who have registered.
Yeah.
146,967. You know, we're targeting about 100,000 to be selected for various modules. Heal Ghana, Feed Ghana. Which one would you have fitted in?
I have no idea, Roland.
Okay, let me give you. I have the various ones, so maybe I'll fit you somewhere. Let you stop. Enterprise Ghana, Heal Ghana. So let's move on. So we have those stories.
What I do know is that I don't qualify. So I don't.
Well, you do qualify. The thing is that you don't need the program. You do qualify. There's a man who has committed suicide after killing 2 relatives, and this incident is happening in Binaba in the Boku West district of the Upper East region. Oh, very sad incident there. On the back page, it's full of spores. Kotoko surviving Idiana's care, where Black Stars arrive in Iceland for international friendly. Amidst all the Anas allegations.
Do we pay them when they play the friendlies?
Yes.
What's the point?
You know, there was this controversy in which I believe 2 other players, Wakaso was involved. I'm told that he's made a U-turn though, not to participate in the ongoing game, or the one that passed with Japan. And we're told that he said the appearance fee was not mouth-watering.
Really?
Yeah, so to speak.
But where is the friendly taking us?
We're just, last time I said it. I mean, typically we're just warming the bed.
We're counting down to the World Cup. We've got 10 days to the World Cup. And a day Africa Cup of Nations. I beg, let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the graphic. NIA resolves technical challenges. But really, do we believe when they say that? There was a press conference.
You have friends.
They said they started.
You can give us further and better particulars.
Okay, so I'll just quote to you something that the acting executive director has been telling pressmen. That's in a bit, but let's go through the rest of the headlines on the front page of the Daily Graphic. All set for 2018 BECE, and GES extends selection of senior high schools to 3 weeks after BEC. And there are pictures of 3 persons on the front page of the paper. It's representing how the headline has been couched. It says, worrying times at EC. Governance experts want action now. There's Alhaji Amadou Sule, Deputy Chair in charge of operations, Mrs. Charlotte Osei, the EC boss, Mrs. Georgina Opoku-Amankwa, Deputy Chair in charge of corporate affairs. So apparently nothing is happening at the Electoral Commission. And some governance experts are worried because we've got things coming up. And, the thinking is, would the Electoral Commission be able to carry out its mandates? We've got 2 things coming up. Let's see if I can read that bit to you. Stories on page 16, I think. Okay, no, stories on page 3. So political pundits are questioning the readiness of the Electoral Commission to successfully conduct the expected referendum on the creation of new regions between October and December this year, as well as the district level and the general elections this year and in 2020 respectively. For some time now, the seeming inactivity of the country's election management body has raised a lot of eyebrows as to when the commission will bounce back to normalcy. So the paper reports that the Electoral Commissioner had written to the members of the commission for a meeting, I think on the 31st of May, but some of them, turned it down. There's a committee of inquiry that we were told had finished going into the matters of the Electoral Commissioner, whether she's, I really want to put it right. So we're yet to know what the Committee of Inquiry's findings have been and what's going to happen to the Electoral Commission. But for now, the reports basically, and after speaking to quite a number of governance persons, they're saying nothing is happening and they're beginning to worry because we have things staring at us and we need the Electoral Commission to be acting. However, the PRO, the communications persons, the communications director at the Electoral Commission, Eric Jacques Passou, said the commission was working hard behind the scenes. He said he was optimistic that the Judicial Committee investigating issues at the commission was at a terminal stage and work at the commission would fully bounce back. So
well, hopefully, because we know that they have the usual midterm elections we have in the district level elections, in which we get to elect people at the local government level.
And remember, we're also creating new regions. The Electoral Commission, apart from organizing major elections like we're expecting we will do in 2020, there are lots of other things that they do as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so back and forth with the National Identification Authority. Here's the quotes, Roland, that I wanted to share because there was a question put to the acting executive secretary of the NIA, Professor Ken Ajimai Atefua, and this was the response. But first, the question: when NIA officials would be expected on the field? Okay, this is what he said. Quotes: "We're ready and we will get into the community. And when we get into the community, you will know. We shall be like the leper who was cleansed by Jesus. When that happened, Christ said to him, 'Go and show yourself to the priests.'" So this thing was supposed to have happened on the 28th of May, and then we're told some technical hitches. But remember that before that, there had been lots of promises made. I think about 5.
It depends on it depends on from whom you start doing the countdown from.
I heard Professor Atifa say he was so emphatic, and he was excited that 28th of May, and then 28th of May came, and no show. But they say they've started working and that whatever technical hitch it was corrected Wednesday afternoon. That was last week. And so they are working. They've actually issued more than 500 people.
With cards?
With cards. So they are working.
Except that, of the first initial.
Except that they are yet to tell us how the entire exercise is going to roll out. So we are waiting, Remember also that we spent a lot of money. Oh, but there are lots more in the story that you can read. Rawlings, who addressed June 4 Durban today, former president and founder of the National Democratic Congress and leader of the June 4 uprising, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, will deliver the keynote address at a Durban of cadres and activists to climax activities marking the 39th anniversary of the uprising today. We have a brief conversation on that. And then a total of 509,824 candidates from 16,060 basic schools will converge on 1,772 examination centers across the country today, Monday, June 24, 2018, to sit for the 2018 Basic Education Certificate Examination. But even as the 263,295 males and 246,529 females, representing an increase of 8.9% over the 2017 figure, sit for the examination. Most of them will be apprehensive as they are yet to get their choices of senior high schools preferred into the West African Examinations Council system. This follows the late submission of the new policy guidelines from the Ghana Education Service to be fed into the WAEC system to ensure the smooth placement of the candidates in their preferred senior high schools. The GES has, however, assured the candidates that it is extending the election or the selection of the senior high schools by the 2018 BCA candidates by 3 weeks after the examinations. Okay, so we're speaking to some parents whose children are sitting for these exams later this morning here on our show. Quickly, let's see what's on the back page. Is all sports. They say we are done with the first bits of the local league. And Hearts has been splitting points. They did on the last day as well. But of course, Kotoko actually got full 3 points. Story by our friend Daniel Kenu in Kuma. Say good morning to you, Daniel. We hope that you're well. Kotoko got 3 points because they won their game 2-1 at the Babayara Stadium in Kumasi yesterday. All right, that's it for the Daily Graphic.
All right, so let's go to the Daily Guide newspaper. It has on the front page, EC Boyle, Amadou Sule clashes with Charlotte Osei. And typically, you'll get to find a lot of these stories surrounding the Electoral Commission in the tabloid, the Daily Guide. It's my favorite newspaper, by the way. It says all is not well with members of the Electoral Commission, and Mamavi had also been telling us a lot more. It says because the commissioners are reportedly still in disagreement over how to hold the meetings to plan the way forward for the independent body. Goes on.
The graphic, by the way, also has that letter purported to have been written in response of that 31st May meeting in the Daily Graphic by Sule Amadou. Yeah.
Okay, so we have Alhaji Shot backs Blay, ultimately. So you have 2 pictures of Freddie Blay and then Alhaji Shot. We know
okay. So we knew he was stepping down to support someone. It was a bit confusing. It couldn't have been Stephen and Team.
Yeah,
so, Freddie Blay.
Stephen and Team, he's had a tortuous journey to become chairman of the NPP. I remember back in 2004, I used to talk to him and ask him typically, why would you want to be chairman of the party, etc. And his responses usually have been the same. Only that this year, he feels that he needs to be given the nod because he has tried it over the period. And this is his time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think his message is a bit... because it's not enough
I'm not a delegate. I don't know the kind of messages that they are spreading.
Yeah. Okay. So S+ use A+, and this is ongoing. It's usually always playing out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Usually that's where you find the story about A+. A+ is always on his Facebook page talking a lot about all the things.
We're waiting. I think the date is 18th. 18th of June. We'll hear what the High Court has got to say on this matter.
And 10% transport fares, they take off today. And Rollins booms today.
Rollins booms today.
Yes.
Like we don't even know what he's going to say. He's booming already.
There's a caricature by Akusia. And typically for the Daily Guide, it says, some things they my inside. If you dare me. And then we have other parties around. They said the party they here are more fire. And we have JJ, hail him. We also have we they believe in you. To hell with Onapo. And just around the caricature, Rollins. He has the key.
Roland, Fred says, show us the cartoon.
So typically, that's how it is. So you have him there. If the camera can zoom in there, you get to find what it will be like. So, all right.
Okay, so I usually
before you do that, please just gather your thoughts on the messages. We have another tabloid here. The Herald newspaper says MP alarmed at abandoned Job 600 repair works, and the MP is worried that work is not going on some sections of the Job 600, which though we know is being occupied by members of parliament. But a year after a fire caused some scare, the ceiling of the 10th floor of the Job 600 office building.
Which MP is speaking? It would be an opposition MP. Is it?
Member of Parliament, Member Adaklu. That's a Kwame Agboja.
So that's an opposition MP. That's my.
He's a ranking member though.
But that's the thing that worries me.
he always has to be the opposition MP.
Exactly.
Well, I guess typically when your government is in power, you don't want to be speaking negative. I think that's been.
This is not negative. This is a building that
I'm
they
talking
all
about what the
occupy.
norm has been in the Fourth Republic.
Yeah, I get it, but I can't think far on that. You know.
Should not be right? But sometimes you are victimized. We have to be truthful with some of the things that happen in our politics. Akufo-Addo's brother causing problem at GNPC. A question that the Herald seems to be asking as trouble brews over multi-million gas supply deal. You have to get to the inside pages of the Herald to get to know what the content of the story is. Men's Gold makes giant strides, enters Europe in grand style. Men's Gold.
Didn't the Bank
a
of
customer of Men's
Ghana?
Gold?
No, I'm not. Didn't the Bank of Ghana caution us?
Well, this is how I've been
Men's
through.
Gold?
I've been through the way they do the trading. So
No, I'm not talking about how they do the trading. I'm talking about that notes
they're
of caution that came from the Bank of Ghana. Has it been reversed?
No, it has not.
Okay. All right, please, then let's move on.
Okay. So we have GOC top man clarifies his role in Commonwealth Games saga. And all the stories are there. The back page brings you Men's Gold making strides. They give us scenes or pictures from the opening of the Spain office of Men's Gold. It's located in Madrid. Hey, Charlie, the main business. Which are the?
All right, let's do the Finder
You have the
newspaper.
Finder.
Front page of the Finder. That's I think the last newspaper was, or we'll do the Business and Financial Times to wrap up. Okay, so the front page of the Finder this morning, real-time monitoring of telecoms traffic, privacy red flags fly, and Occupy Ghana calls for detailed investigation and audits by an independent expert. So all the players really in the mix of this. Pictures of them on the front page of the paper. CBOD proposes special hedging to curtail fuel price increases. Melcom opens new branch at La. First Lady wishes student rights in BC well. Chief, 12 others arrested over death of 2 at Chireponi. That story is on page 4 in the Finder newspaper. Perhaps a little bit of that, and then we'll go on to the Business and Financial Times. Story says that 13 persons have been arrested in connection with the violent clashes between the Kolkumbas and the Chekosis near a village at Naduni in Chireponi in the northern region. The clash left 2 people dead. The suspects are currently being held at the Yendi Divisional Headquarters to assist in investigations. The Northern Regional Police Public Relations Officer mentioned the deceased as Kura Mustafa, who is 35, and Mohammed Bafim, 45, whose bodies have been deposited at the Tamale Teaching Hospital morgue pending autopsy. There's more to the story in the Finder newspaper. Roland?
Okay, so we have the last paper, the Business and Financial Times. Fuel imports dipped 12% thanks to local gas. And we have the main story. The rebasing could boost GDP to some 300 billion. We're always rebasing. We're always lying to ourselves, but typically how we tend to manage the economy and all that. But rebasing also means that the economy will be in good stead. It will improve our credit rating, and ultimately we'll do well when we go into the international market to borrow or go ask those who bring us the inflows to come and do business with us. So that's a good thing. The debt to GDP ratio could lower to 50%. That would be no. Okay, so the story typically is on, should be on the 3rd page. Okay, so it's on page 3. It says gross domestic product, as GDP, could now be valued as high as 300 billion Ghana cedis after the expected rebasing this month, which is the second in less than 10 years, according to an in-depth analysis of Ghana's public debt management in 2017 by Databank Research. The economic and policy analysis, which is predicting a 30 to 45% increase in nominal GDP, point out that the economic science should move from 205.91 billion Ghana cedis recorded in 2017 December to some 300 billion Ghana cedis, or in dollar terms, some $63.4 billion after the rebasing or revision of the methods and base data used to calculate GDP. That's what we do all the time. And the value of our currency is not good. We do something about it. We knock off some few zeros, try to lie to ourselves and work instead. Industry people warn against changing single window implementer and invoice factoring, a game changer for suppliers. Okay, so we have on the back page nothing. It's an advertorial.
So let's do the Daily Dispatch. Let's do 2 interesting stories in the Daily Dispatch today. You know, today is June 4.
Yeah.
And there's the June 4 uprising being marked. Yes, actually the 39th
Were you born
anniversary.
On June 4?
No, I wasn't.
No.
But the Speaker of Parliament has also written, what he's written about is in the paper, but it's on the front page, captures Professor Michael Quay on Rawlings, Revolution and Populist Democracy. You might want to read it. It's on page 3. Speaker Michael Quay writing on this day. And then Obenfo CEO charged. So there's been former charge slapped on him. That's on page 11 in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. It says the state has formally charged Dr. Dominic Kwame Obeng Ando of Obenfo Hospital for practicing medicine without lawful authority, contrary to Section 48 DI of the Health Professionals Regulatory Body Act 23, Act 857. Additionally, he's been charged with operating an unlicensed health facility contrary to Section 11(1) of the Health Institutions and Facilities Act 2011, Act 829. So the backstory really is there, but I think what is new for us is the fact that he's been formally charged. You can continue to read is in the Daily Dispatch newspaper. And the city will remain prone to periods of volatility, according to the EIU. Okay, that's it for the Daily Dispatch newspaper, and indeed that will be it for the hardcore newspapers that we have.